Okie doke. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you join us today to discuss all things SIGGRAPH 2019. I'm Michael Reed, and I'm the 2019 Courses Chair. Next to me on your screen are June Kim, our International Resources Chair, and Derek Now, our Production Sessions Chair. And we're very glad to be here today on this Facebook Live session. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you about their programs and their roles in the 2019 team, and then I'll introduce myself a little bit more, and we'll talk about what you should expect at SIGGRAPH 2019 and how you can get the most out of the conference. So, June, maybe you want to speak about your program a little bit?
Interactive resources. Well, actually, we run the ICM SIGGRAPH Theater event. So if you go to the SIGGRAPH 2019 and ICM SIGGRAPH Theater event, you will see the list of events that we run. We run a CG event and also both. And our most popular session is Woman in CG and SIGGRAPH for Beginners. And also, as a year-long activity, we provide audio guides in different languages. So you can find the audio guide from not in the SIGGRAPH 2019 website, but you can find from the SIGGRAPH website. But we provide QR codes you can easily find, just clicking the QR code. And also we run International Center in SIGGRAPH. So this year we moved to the 3rd floor, and we have a room, a room 309 and the foyer next to it. So you can just come and join and come and relax and have a meeting. So yeah, that's what we provide.
Fantastic. And Derek?
It's me now. So like Michael said, I'm the chair of production sessions at SIGGRAPH 2019. And what production sessions are is that we have 11 sessions, and we provide a macro view of behind the scenes, how they did it, presentations of some of the largest visual effects, animation, and other computer graphics work from the last year. And what that usually ends up looking like is some big tentpole visual effects films, such as if there was a Star Wars movie this year or Marvel. We're going to be having Game of Thrones this year. So it's some quite large productions. It's in West Hall B, which is a large room, and we provide an overall view of how they did it, and they're usually really exciting. It's my favorite program, and they provide education and inspiration, and I think it's a worthwhile program. So
yeah, that's a great program, and as I mentioned, I'm chair of the courses program. And the courses program is kind of, I guess, the closest to a traditional learning experience, like a traditional classroom experience. It's where experts give short courses or kickstarts on both foundational technology and computer graphics and user interaction, and kind of forward-looking things. So if somebody published some edgy research in the past few years and they want to make it more accessible to other people, they might give a course on it. And the courses range from beginner to expert for the audience, and from a relatively short course of an hour and a half to multiple half-day sessions. So, and like the other programs mentioned, you can go online onto the website, SIGGRAPH2019.org, and find out all the information on this that you want. The program is already there for the conference, so please do check it out online. So today's Facebook Live, we're going to discuss everything you need to know for SIGGRAPH 2019, from getting to the conference, how you should plan your time, and what you definitely do not want to miss, because we have some really spectacular things going on. We also want to hear your questions. So as we're talking, you can drop those into the comments below so we can answer them at the end of the broadcast. And let's start by discussing the logistics of getting to SIGGRAPH. June, can you provide some advice for those traveling internationally on things they shouldn't forget?
Well, visa, of course. I think like a US visa requirement can present some challenges for, our international visitors. So we provide up-to-date guides to the International Center website. And if you just go there, And there will be another section called interactive visa map. So what you can do is that you can type in where you're traveling from, like I'm a citizen of New Zealand, or a citizen of South Korea, or your country, origin country. And you're traveling to, we have an option for Canada and US, but for this year, US definitely. And then it will guide to, and it will link to the official site, so you can get all the visa requirement. So it's official and up to date. And personally, I suggest all the international visitors to register as early as they can, because when they register, there is an option to tick for the invitation letter for the visa purpose. So you can tick, and then you can use that for applying your visa. But sometimes you forget. Like when you're so excited applying, you register for SIGGRAPH conference, you forget. And we sometimes receive the request, I forgot to tick, and what should I do? And you can always go back to your page and then tick again, and it will automatically generate. So don't worry about even if you just miss ticking. So you can always go back and do it again. So yeah, so that's my kind of like official advice for international visitors from international resources. And I'm fairly sure that you have like a more exciting, more interesting tips, Michael, Derek. Can you?
My advice is, the kind of like, things like don't get dehydrated on your trip, or do your best to game the time zone difference. Easy from East Coast, you can leave relatively early in the morning, and it's only apparently a 2-hour flight, even though it's longer. I think for people traveling internationally, especially if you're coming from, say, Australia,
yes,
I don't know, maybe there's a way to leave and show up before you even left in Los Angeles. But I think definitely look at the time zones that you can game them. I guess locally, the only thing I could say, not an international issue, is you can take public transportation to downtown LA from the airport, and at least if you're not traveling a ridiculous distance, you can show up and go right to sessions. It's definitely done, and we often have at SIGGRAPH a place to put luggage actually at the conference if you don't have time to check in yet. So that's been the case in the past. It's been super useful.
Do you have any suggestion, Derek? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm local, so my travel tips might be a little different. So I'll just kind of focus on what I think is useful about when you first arrive. I think there's a tendency, particularly you're at the conference, you see the banners, you see people walking around, and there's this excitement that builds. And I've found that there's a tendency to kind of overdo it in like the first couple of days. And so I found that taking it easy when you arrive and maybe getting some good sleep to kind of recover a little bit, because it's going to be a long week, and it's really easy to exhaust yourself early in the week, and then you still have a week ahead of you of conference to attend. So it's to be mindful of what you've got coming up. I think is probably the best advice I have for that.
Yeah. I think it is a bit of an endurance event. I expect people coming from far away are probably going to stay for much of the week, because you wouldn't travel from, say, Australia to come just for a day. It's a bit of an endurance event for sure. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice, because I'm actually flying from usually like either New Zealand or Australia. And by the time I get in, I'm still kind of past. And and I'm always excited on my first day, and like almost like spend all my energy. And second day, I had an experience become zombie. So please do not be so excited, and spread your energy for 1 week.
That being said, the airline doesn't charge you more if your head is giant and packed full of new knowledge, right? So you wanna suck up as much new stuff as you can too. So.
Okay, so we hope that these travel tips have made you feel a bit more comfortable about your upcoming travel to SIGGRAPH 2019. And now we've covered getting to LA, and let's discuss about the logistic.
Yeah. Do you guys have some general advice, or I see we have some general things here. Most people know the dates, July, 28th of July to August 1st. Do you guys want to talk about the different registration levels or what's online for people?
Sure.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in case anybody didn't catch that, it's the conference ranges from 28th of July to August 1st at the LA Convention Center in Los Angeles, California. The registration levels are in SIGGRAPH as they indicate which sessions you'll be able to get into and which programs you'll be able to attend. And so there are various levels that allow you, that are tiered, that allow you into various programs and sessions. So I'd recommend that you check the SIGGRAPH 2019 website to get the details. You can check out the registration page there. It's pretty easy to navigate to. And then from there, you can kind of compare against maybe your schedule or some of the sessions that you want to attend and make sure that you can enter into those based on your registration level. And I do think if for whatever reason you can't get into a session that you want to, I think you can upgrade your registration on site should you need to. So that's just something to keep in mind. And so if you're trying to build your schedule and compare it against your registration level in advance, there's a couple of resources that are out there for you. I have found the two that I use the most are the advanced program, which is up on the SIGGRAPH website. Maybe we can post the link in the comments or something. And the mobile app. The mobile app is really handy because it allows you to, go through and kind of assign which sessions that you're interested in and export it to your calendar. And it allows you to quickly browse through all of the content that's available. So that's probably what I use the most. I use the advanced program frequently if I need to share details with other people. And in addition to that, there's also the schedule builder, which can help you build your schedule. And I think we can probably provide a link for that as well.
Yeah, so I just want to double down on that. The advanced program is really useful. The only disadvantage to it is 50 pages, quite detailed, whereas the conference app is excellent, especially if you've got it'll certainly work on a phone. If you've got a tablet, it works on that, and it does a great job allowing you to make your program. They will hand out, when you get to SIGGRAPH, they will give a small kind of a miniature version of the advanced program, but the app is really terrific. And this year, I think maybe it's the first time you can communicate with other conference attendees. So you can send messages back and forth. You can post selfies and the rest on kind of a real-time feed live feed. So the app is really terrific. You're basically going to need it to be able to navigate the extremely dense number of things that are going on at the conference this year. It's guaranteed. There's going to be times when there's 5 things you want to see, and you're going to have to make choices about which ones you go to. And the best way to do that is to use the app to really schedule yourself relatively tightly.
100%. I frequently will go through the app. Here's a piece of advice: download the app before you get to SIGGRAPH rather than when you arrive. In advance of the conference, I look through everything and I just star everything that I think that I want to attend. And then more or less, unless there's sessions that I know I have to be at, at game time, I just am like, okay, well, I'm going to this session. Would I rather be in this session or this session? I just decide 5 minutes before. That's been my strategy because it's so hard to choose sometimes. Now, there will be sessions that are going to be very popular. So if you definitely want to get into a session, you may want to be considerate of timing a little bit. But
especially all the production sessions.
Yeah,
there will be long queue.
Yeah, we'll get everybody in. I hope anyway. I think we should also talk about there's a new / returning program this year called Pathfinders. And that's a really good resource for attendees, for new attendees or attendees that haven't been that many times. And essentially what that provides is that there's some mentorship. I believe there's a booth that you can find, and they provide mentorship in terms of what the sessions are, what the programs mean, because there's a lot of SIGGRAPH words that, maybe if you've never been before, you wouldn't quite know what to do and where to go. And so that could be a great resource for tailoring your experience at the conference. And then also, if you've got questions, there are the student volunteers that you can identify. They'll have colored shirts, and they'll be identified as student volunteers, and you'll see them throughout the time. And they're always a resource. If you're looking for a room number, or you need to know where registration is, which is a common question, or just any kind of general help, they're there to serve. They know where things are, and they're an integral part of the conference. So I thought I should touch on those two things.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm guessing there's also international resources for people who are showing up for their first time as well, right, June?
Yeah. Well, actually, on the very first day, we run a session called SIGGRAPH for Beginners. And we started the session, I think, for last 2 years. We've been learning, and it's been very popular. And this year, as Derek said, the Pathfinder is like a returning. But it used to be on like between, I think, 2005 till 2009, and then gone, and then it's reviving. And we actually invited Jim Kilmer, the chair of the Pathfinders. So he's going to he's going to have a time to introduce Pathfinders. And also we invited some a very good SIGGRAPH fees. So they will also introduce their programs to helping the SIGGRAPH for beginners and SIGGRAPH first timer, and also share experience. So what to choose and what to do, and maybe not to avoid to do, and those things. So
yeah, all excellent advice.
And SIGGRAPH for beginners, if I have just one more second, it's
please.
on the first day, 12:30 till 1:30 on Sunday. So please come and join.
Fantastic. I'm glad we got the time and date for that. I would say I've been to SIGGRAPH. I don't know, how many times have you guys been to SIGGRAPH? I've been to SIGGRAPH maybe getting close to 20 times.
Wow.
And I can tell you that it's a very... I
should have invited you.
It's a very dense... I know, I've been there 20 times. You've never invited me to the first time.
Sorry.
It's a very dense conference. There is a lot going on every day. For sure, you're not going to see everything you want, because there's just so much stuff that's great to see all the time. I would definitely recommend going to the first SIGGRAPH first timer session. If it's your first time there, or even your second or third, try to see a little bit from each one of the many programs, even the ones that aren't in your specialty. And a little bit later in today's broadcast, we can talk about the specialties. But there's just a lot of material. Rest up. There's a bunch of must-see events, which Derek and June will talk about later, like electronic theater and the keynote, etc. But I guess the only thing I'd say is visit the website. There are regular updates on the website, and you can see a good overview of all the programs and what's going down at the SIGGRAPH by just visiting there and just spending a few minutes browsing around. Otherwise, it's going to be overwhelming in a good way.
Yeah, in the best way. Yes. And I guess this is speaking of overwhelming, I'm just going to do a segue into a couple things about that I think are really important in terms of preparation for the conference, since we're kind of talking about first time and what to do and how to get through it. I think a couple of key things to bring with you are a battery, if you have like a rechargeable battery for your phone or whatever. Especially as a lot of people are going to be using the Wi-Fi and things like that. Batteries go quick on your phone or whatever device you bring. So a portable battery is a great idea. A notebook is another great idea. I have found that, despite it being a high-tech conference and, it's got a lot of technologically savvy attendees, I found it's hard to beat just like when you're taking notes or trying to communicate with somebody in a conversation somewhere. It's really handy to have, just a notebook, just pencil and paper. Then also I found that having like a water bottle or something like that, and speaking of staying hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
You can refill it in various places, and, it's just good to have that on you. And, of course, business cards, right? Many times I have forgotten them, so It's important to bring them because there's a lot of like unexpected conversations that pop up in unexpected places. So it's good to have those couple of things with you all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of networking going on for sure. So and all great ideas.
Water bottle is very important. And also I always keep the SIGGRAPH locator because I use app most of the time, but my battery always runs out. So in that case, I lose track. So I always have my paper locator handy and check.
Yeah, right. That's what it's called, the locator. That's what I was referring to when I was saying that's kind of a miniature version of the final program. The locator, very useful.
Locator, yes.
Between the paper locator, which is a small pamphlet, and your SIGGRAPH app, you're going to be well covered for scheduling and can kind of, the locator gives you kind of a 10,000-foot view, and the app gives you the, the to the minute view. So
app is very useful because like you can just like check all the favorite one. And it will give you alert that you need to go to this session. But for my case, I always get like 3-4 alerts all at the same time. So that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing the app does that's really terrific is if you're going to the technical papers, fast forward. So if you're looking at the technical papers and they go through them, all the technical papers are presented in like, I don't know, 30 seconds each, 15 seconds each, something very tight. You can click on the ones you like very rapidly, and then they automatically go into your program. But so all good. Yeah. So why don't I take a minute and we can just talk a little bit about the educational opportunities of the conference. The conference divided into interest areas, which allow you to choose sessions that are aligned with whatever your interest areas are. And I'll give a brief overview of each interest area and the kind of educational opportunities you can get in each of those. And there are 5 major areas, and each area, they're not distinct. There is overlap between them. There's kind of research and education, production and animation, arts and design, gaming and interactive, and new technologies. The research and education area that covers the technical papers program. So if you're a researcher doing computer graphics or animation research, that's where your technical papers typically would be. And if the vast majority of us who don't have accepted papers there, we often go there to get the very latest technical advances. There's the courses program, which is my program, which is kind of more traditional courses in a half day or 1.5 hour format. So if you're looking to get your skills up in, machine learning or fluid simulation or color theory or AR, VR, you might go to one of the courses. And I've had a few questions on this. You don't need to register for the course ahead of time. You can just show up at the appointed day and time. There are panels as well, which are groups of experts in the field discussing issues in that particular field. So those are all like part of the research and education focus. And it also includes posters. The posters area. And Derek, weren't you chair of the posters program at one point?
Chair of posters in 2015.
Yeah, that's a great program to give kind of late-breaking results in different parts of computer graphics and interaction. We also have some really good posters there that are kind of part of our adaptive focus for SIGGRAPH 2019. So there's a poster on learning from human-robot interactions and one on visual zoom techniques for those who have a particular vision issue. So there's going to be terrific content in the poster session as well. The production animation focus, that includes talks, panels, and the production sessions. The computer animation festival as well. Derek's chair of the production sessions. Maybe you want to speak about those, but if you're into production, like basically film or short or any kind of advertising production that uses computer graphics and animation, these are the kind of things you'll want to see. The production sessions have, Lion King work, Avengers. What else is in there, Derek, that I'm missing?
Yeah, sure. So, I feel like I did a poor job of introducing my program. So, what production sessions are 90-minute panel discussions that cover a macro view of the various productions that we have at the conference this year. And that includes some content from The Lion King, the latest Avengers movie. We have Toy Story 4. We have the latest season of Game of Thrones, amongst some other things, including some really excellent VR content. And some streaming content. We have a really cool panel from Netflix. And so those provide like a macro view of how that production was done from sort of like a start to finish point of view. And that's a little bit different from talks, because talks are generally either 20 or 40 minutes, and they focus on a specific aspect of a production. So a talk might, whereas a production session might kind of talk about lighting, animation, rendering, all of the elements that are important to a production. A talk might sort of drill down into specific rendering techniques or specific effects techniques, and then of course you mentioned panels. Panels are usually sort of like a unique perspective on some particular topic, and they are a different environment into themselves. And so, yeah, I would just like to echo that if you are interested in or working in, the fields of production or animation, it's the place to be for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, the production sessions are amazing. If you want to know how they did Avengers, how they did Toy Story 4, you'll want to be visiting those. The other interest areas, arts and design. So we have an art gallery as well as an art papers program. The art gallery is terrific, and because it runs continuously during the day, it's a great place to go when you're just taking a little bit of downtime and you want to see some things that are really thought-provoking. They tend to be interactive exhibits, work that would be categorized as new media. So it's both interesting, oftentimes boundary pushing. My favorites this year, I saw there's Tentacle Flora and Yawn Chorus, which is a great interactive project, and you should definitely spend some time in the art gallery. Usually you can just walk in and walk around for a little bit as kind of a cool downtime from the rest of the show. The gaming and interactive interest area, obviously we have a ton of content having to do with real-time work. We have in the courses, the advances in real-time rendering courses. There's 3 of them, and those are always really, groundbreaking, edgy work in how to get these games done. There is work in the AR, VR, and MR area. Real-time Live, which is half show, half demo scene on live demoed interactive software, and that's always really, really terrific. I guess lastly is the interest area we call like new technologies, which is probably most prevalent in the emerging technologies program, which like the art gallery is a fixed space where you can go by and see in sort of an advanced science fair style, people showing their emerging technologies, things that are really edgy. They aren't ready for product yet, but they will be in 10 years. And that's really inspiring and amazing technological work. And included in the new technologies, I'd say there's the VR AR program, which I think Derek and June will talk about in the events section in a moment, because there's some really great stuff in the VR and AR world that we're going to be showing this year. SIGGRAPH is the premier showcase for emerging technologies in graphics and visual media. So there's a lot in this new technologies area. Thinking one other thing in the new technologies is this Magnifinger demo, I guess I'd say, which is like a fingertip worn accessory that like helps if you have limited visual acuity. And it's part of our adaptive focus this year, and you should definitely definitely spend some time walking around the emerging technology section. So if you're interested in any of these, that but if you're not sure, your registration badge will give you access to that particular program. Just check on the website. It'll show you for what registration category you are, which parts of the show are open to you, and you can upgrade your badge if you need to. either at the conference or before you get there. So, yeah, I think that covers the individual educational program. Maybe Derek or June, you want to talk about the big events going down?
Sure. Well, actually, I've unfortunately I've got to duck out because I've got a meeting I've got to run to. But I'm sure I leave our viewers in capable hands. So thanks for letting me join you too, and I will look forward to seeing everyone on site.
Fantastic. Great having you, Derek. Nice seeing you, and I'll see you in
nice
2
meeting
weeks.
You, Derek.
Yeah,
see you soon.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao. June, it's you and I.
Yes, and yeah, like you, likewise, like a art gallery is one of my favorite program, and like this year, this year, like art gallery is like a submission based. Like so far for last few years, it's been like a curated, but like this year there will be more variety because it's like there were lots of submissions and they selected based on submissions, and also like in relation to the new technologies. SIGGRAPH 2019 introduced adaptive technology, which is I'm very looking forward because we haven't had this one before. So that would be very exciting.
Definitely.
And real-time live, definitely. It's my
real-time
most favorite. Yes. And especially like I just wanted to share this one with audience. And for real-time live, you have to make sure your app ready because you will be voting. Straight after.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, real-time live is terrific. And as I mentioned before, it's kind of like a mass interactive demo scene event. It's quite something with an MC. I forget who the MC is this year, but it's very exciting and a lot of fun. Like among the other events, if you're on the technical side, if you're going there to see technical papers, oftentimes you're a student or a research engineer or a new professor. The technical papers fast forward, which is Sunday night, is amazing. You can the technical papers are usually presented 3 or 4 in a hour and a half session. This presents all the technical papers in 1 hour. So I don't know if it's 1 minute each or something like that, but it's exciting for sure. And the electronic theater. So, June, the
so
electronic
exciting,
theater is only Monday night, right? Electronic theater is only Monday night, right?
Yeah, so that's very important. It starts at 6:30, so please sort of like try to make your way to go to the Microsoft Theater.
Yeah.
So it's outside of the convention center. So
just next to it. In the past, the electronic theater has been on multiple nights, I think, and this year it's just on one night. So make sure you that's an absolute must see. And the keynote session. The keynote session has Victoria Alonso, executive producer from Marvel Studios. She's also on a panel. She's on one of the production panels on how the Avengers got made. But that is an absolute must-see. Those films are a technological and artistic tour de force, and it'll be great to hear what she says about that, how those are made. Any others of your favorites here, June? Let's see, there's a little bit of list here. Do you go to Happy Hour?
Yeah, and Happy Hour. Well, there are so many must-see, but on the first day, like when we run lots of like a technology focused sessions, but also we run like a business symposiums, and on the first day there is a diversity and inclusion summit. So if you are interested in diversity and inclusion topic, it will be very good to join in that summit.
Yeah, that's terrific. Everybody who can should attend that for sure. Especially Happy Hour, which is a combination cocktail hour / app demo. So for those who've got sort of new and coming out mobile apps, they demo them all together in a very collegial atmosphere at the convention center. It's terrific, a lot of fun. And there's the job fair and exhibition. Have you been to that, June? You've done that?
Yes, and I go there and collect lots of goodies too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
And job fair, like not for goodies, of course. And you
Mhm.
can get lots of like information and like I think many of especially like the first timers and
Mhm.
young fellows they enjoy job fairs and get jobs from job fairs. So
Yeah,
it's actually very, very important. And then, you can expand network.
yeah,
So thinking
absolutely.
about the next move.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this even needs saying, but it's a tremendous networking opportunity there. If you're looking to get into the business, either visual effects or animation or computer graphics, um, every major company involved in this, both on the production side and on the technology side. So just all the technology companies involved in it, all the major studios, all the major universities have representation there. Um, it's a very good environment if you're looking to get into or find out more about the business. So that's a major purpose of SIGGRAPH, and there is a job fair just for that. Trying to think, is there anything else? Let's see. I think that kind of covers it. You can visit the website to find out, more information about everything we've spoken about.
Yeah, so there are so many must see. So
Yeah.
what I suggest is that you really have to plan. So as Derek mentioned before, like a better download app before the trip and just like
Yeah.
carefully look through and pick your area, your interest area, and you can see like education, research, education, production,
Mm-hmm.
animation, and art and design, gaming and interactive, and new technologies. And I
Mm-hmm.
think both in locator and app, those are made as a tag, so you can
Mm-hmm.
actually look around tag like which are your interest area and pick
Mm-hmm.
through like, what you can do. And I always run to the exhibition hall first because
Mm-hmm.
for me like a experience hall first. And because for me like experience emerging technology, we are AR like immersive pavilions and VR theater, and those are to me like an art gallery. Those are very important for me. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
important to pick.
Yeah, those are all terrific. And
Yes.
I think the only thing I'd add to that is there's like one more program. Oh yeah, the VR AR program. So in the past we have had VR and AR theater, right? But this year it is definitely at a new level. Maxwell Planck has overseen that part of the program, and Victoria Regge also. That the VR AR theater this year is going to be epic. I think you need to get tickets ahead of time, although it's included in some levels of registration. Um, but I'm expecting that to be a huge must-see this year. So yeah. Um, let's see. Okay. Well, I think hope that gives you a good idea of what to expect and experience you might experience with SIGGRAPH. Let's get some questions. Here we have. Uh, I see this question about the reception. Um, sorry, hi there. I see this a question about the reception, about what happens at the reception, and the reception is really kind of a dinner and mixer that all the attendees of the conference who have passes for it can attend. Um, it's a social event, and there usually isn't a performance event at the same time. So that's what I remember from the reception. June, I don't know if that's the same for you. Can you hear me? I think I lost you, June. Might be cutting out a little bit from Australia. Okay. All right. Well, until we get June back, I think we'll complete that that question about the reception. It's really a socializing event for everybody who went to the who's attending the conference. So usually it's right before the SIGGRAPH beta. So it's a fun event and it's social. So let's see if there's anything else here. Can we take another? So yeah, I think most areas are available to everybody at the conference. If they have a ticket or a badge, then that's all that's required.
I'll be right out.
Any other questions? Let me see here. All right. Well, I wish everybody good luck in scheduling your last couple of weeks to schedule what you're going to do with SIGGRAPH 2019. Thanks everybody for joining us on today's live broadcast. We hope you're as excited for SIGGRAPH as we are, obviously. You can always go to the website, www.s2019.siggraph.org. And please do remember to download the app to help in the planning and scheduling. And since I've got the mic here, I do want to say thanks so much to June and to Derek